Yeah.
So
Okay, wait. Premium account is required. Okay, go live. Ready?
We're live.
We are live. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi. It has been a minute or two since we have had a live situation. Not only have I had some issues with YouTube twice taking me down in the last month.
oh my gosh.
Fun.
Doing the party.
Yeah, you're right. This last time just conveniently happened after I did a reverse speech session live with David Oates regarding the Trump attempt assassination, and just convenently within a day or two, it was like, oh, you can't be monetized and you're blocked.
You hit a nerve on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
More than that shooter hit though, isn't it? Whee!
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did an appeal, believe it or not, both times, and I won both times. So I don't know who.
You know what? Sometimes it works. It seems arbitrary. Yeah, sometimes we would appeal. We did appeal one deletion and it worked one time, but then the first time we got deleted back in January, as you know, the appeal did not work on that one. And then I created a second channel, which got deleted. I appealed it. Then it worked. Like you said, came back, but then they deleted it again. And then they deleted like 2 more channels after that. And now we're on attempt 5. And now it's almost, it's almost at 1,000 subscribers, so this one's built, but we'll see how long it lasts. Right. I'm not really holding my breath on that. So we're still keeping Rumble as our main. YouTube is just insane.
The censorship is real. Like, come on, bro.
It's out of control. Well, especially this year with the election and with all that's going on, they're just like in hardcore panic mode right now. So,
well, I would love to introduce you guys or have you guys introduce yourselves a little bit, because I'm not 100% sure that everybody is familiar with your work, and I want to make sure that anywhere this goes, people know, because what I'm excited about today, and we've been trying to get this rolling for a little bit, but there's just been a little bit of delay, and I get, the perfect timing is perfect timing. But I would like to showcase, because both of you guys had books come out here in the last bit, and we even made the title a combination of both of your books, which is so cute. And yes, I'd love for you to just share. And Craig, I haven't talked to you for a minute, so welcome back, and I'm glad to see you're here. And by the way, I'm Sharnael, and so we have Lilly, Nova here, Aaron's with us, Craig's here with us. Welcome to the show. If you guys haven't been on the channel before, thank you for coming back. Thank you for all your members. And we do have a couple announcements. We have our member meeting this Sunday at noon, and I have Ashley coming back, which I'm really excited about. She's someone that I met in New Orleans, just random, well, whatever random is. And she's extremely gifted in prophetic psychic abilities. She literally, I personally don't see a lot of people or do readings because people can Google me and pretty much just see whatever. And so I have had people who are like doing whatever, and then it's like exactly what I just posted or something. And I'm like, it's not so. But this lady was literally on the street, never met her, and she was just sitting at this table, and my daughter wanted to sit down with her, and she had a thing, and she really just read her mail. And I was like, okay. And then she literally read my mail, and I was like, wow, this chick is for real. So I trust that. But anyway, she's going to be here Sunday, and we're going to listen to my cat cry, I guess. So it was fun with 5 dogs and 5 cats. But anyway, welcome to the show. You guys do your thing, and I'd love to hear a little bit about some background. I know you've been on the show many times, but I'd love to have you just share a little bit and kind of where you're at with the book.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to go first?
Lilly, you go first.
Okay.
Ladies first. Such a gentleman.
Exactly.
Okay. So I am a contactee and a cosmic channel, a space photographer. And I have my own YouTube channel as well. I do a lot of meditations and work with the star family and kind of like starseed niche. My book is about my contact story. So this started happening for me, just real briefly, a little bit of background over over 2020, really. I was out shooting space photography, and then UFOs started to visit me. So then I started documenting them, and then a communication developed, and they taught me a lot of spiritual principles, surprisingly, which I wasn't expecting ETs to teach me about spirituality. A lot of healing and revelations, developing psychic abilities, all that fun stuff. And it's just been a deep dive down the rabbit hole since then. So now, I've met all of you wonderful people, Aaron and Tyler from Journey to Truth, you two guys here, and so many amazing people in this community. And it's just been a crazy ride. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Good to be here. Thank you for having me on again.
Oh, you muted. I thought you muted there. No, it's great to have you on, guys. Because I met both of you at the Journey to Truth conference last May. We hung out in person, which was an incredible time. And actually, I've only done one show since then. That's how busy this summer has been. It's been crazy. Hanging out with you guys, it's all well and good through a screen, but in person, you get to pick up on people, and you guys are the real deal. It was great to meet you in person and hang out and go for ice cream, Lilly, as well, or whatever, or frozen yogurt, whatever you call it over there.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaron, with your book?
Yeah, I just want to second that. It's so great meeting you in person at the conference, and you're with just what you said, you're the real deal, and it was a pleasure getting to meet you in person and hang out, and you're a lot bigger than I expected, I think.
Okay.
Wow. Not Brad Olson big, but
No, not Brad Olson big, or Jerry Wills.
Right, or Jerry Wills, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Hope you can come over again, and we can do it again, maybe next year. I don't know if that's in the cards for you or not, but
it's on the cards.
Yay!
I'm thinking about it. If I can make it work, yeah.
Awesome. Can't wait. So I wrote a book this year as well. Lilly and I were both in the same book writing course that Jackie Kenner did earlier this year. That was like a 6-week get your book written kind of thing. That there was about 12 of us, I think, or somewhere around there in the group. And it basically just forced us all to get our books written, and she kind of guided us through it. And this is a book I've been trying to write for like 6 or 7 years. At least 6 years. Yeah. And when it's not a priority, and it's hard to like stay consistent with it if you're just like, you got so much going on, you're just like, oh yeah, I'll write like a little bit when the inspiration hits, and then 6 months go by and I don't do anything, and then I'm like, oh, write a tiny bit more. That's kind of the pace I was writing it at, and I literally I probably only had like a few pages worth of stuff written going into it, which I ended up like rewriting anyway. So I basically went into it from scratch, and I wrote it in 6 weeks, and I can't believe I did that, because it's
amazing.
It's like an almost 400-page book. Mm-hmm. Granted, there's a good amount of pictures, and there's a good amount of quotes and like excerpts from other things in there as well, so that kind of beefed it up more. But I wanted to do that for the first book. I don't know if for this type of book especially, I just wanted to have a lot of other I go into a lot of information, and that's all kind of compiled, and I also though wanted to show a lot of direct quotes that it's like the way they're worded, or the information in it is just like it felt like that was the right way to do a lot of it. Lilly has a guest chapter actually in my book.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I have a chapter in my book that's all different like ET experiencers or contactees, and kind of like little blurbs of their information. And I asked Lilly to write her own, expecting it to be like 1 or 2 paragraphs, and then she sent me this whole massive chapter with like 9 pictures. I was like,
when you're flowing, you got to keep going.
Right. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to give you your own chapter. I didn't want to shorten it.
Yeah, sorry. I was totally in the zone. You know, whenever you're in the zone, I was like, after I got done, I was like, oh my God, I've been writing for like 3 hours on this little assignment that Aaron gave me. Sorry.
No, it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I'm just going to give you your own chapter. So that's how she got a little guest chapter in my book, which is great because it's almost like a little preview for her book because it's, you know, you can read that. And then if you want to read more of her story and information, go buy her book, you know, which is amazing, by the way, which I've read your book and it's phenomenal. And
thank you.
It was great hearing. I knew like generally your story and some of your stuff, but it was great getting the expanded version of it and all the other stuff in there. It was really, really awesome. And you did an amazing job on it. So, and my life partner, I guess you could say, we still haven't decided on the term because we're not technically married, even though we just had a wedding style commitment ceremony. And
congratulations, by the way. Bravo.
Thank you. Lilly was there. Thank you. And a lot of people, I think, still think we got married because the pictures posted looks like a wedding, which it essentially was. Just we're not getting the government involved in our relationship. But
you don't let the government define your relationship. How dare you?
Right. So
I have a funny thing to say about that whenever you guys are finished. That it's interesting, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Anyways,
congrats.
Thank you. She has a guest chapter in my book as well because I start the book early in the book. I start going through my story, my like awakening story, and then meeting Tyler, and then starting the podcast, and then I go into meeting Amanda in Mount Shasta, and then I let her tell her perspective of what happened when we met, and so she has a whole chapter that's her writing from her perspective of our meeting and falling in love and what happened. So yeah, there's kind of a love story in it as well of that, and it's kind of like 3 different types of books in one book, essentially. So it's interesting. It's kind of like a philosophy book, an autobiography, and like just like an information kind of book, all in one.
Nice.
And the second half of the book has more of that, a lot of the information kind of stuff, whereas the first half is more of my story and how I got to where I'm at, kind of thing. And it's a book. I wrote it. I wanted to cast a really wide net and like make it to where somebody that knows nothing about any of this stuff at all could pick it up and have a lot of seeds planted at least, or pick their interest at least, and get something out of it to where they want to like keep going, right? So I wrote it in a way that can happen, while also people like us who know a lot of this stuff aren't going to just be like, oh, I already know all this stuff. You know, you're still going to like enjoy the reading and get something out of it.
Yeah.
And also pick your interest and maybe, you know, on different things that you didn't know. So I try to cast a really wide net with that. And I've been told by a lot of people that, you know, I did a good job with that. So I hope I did. But
when you say
really good so far. So.
When you say seeds planted, what do you describe that? What do you mean? What kind of seeds? About just like awakening, or about like disclosure, or about
all of the above? Yeah, all of the above.
Okay.
You know, so, like I said, somebody that let's say a person that doesn't even believe in ETs, or doesn't even really believe in much spiritual information, or whatever. Even someone that's like super religious in whatever religion, you know, maybe it'll get them to start expanding out of that box, questioning it, and you know. That's what I mean by seeds planted, where it's like picking their interest of like, wait a second, there's something to all this. Maybe I need to follow this. Maybe I need to expand what I thought reality was. Now it's something much greater. You know, kind of the same thing that happened to me in my awakening, where I started getting these little hints that I was in a programmed box, and there was a lot more outside of that. And then I kept following that until I ended up, you know, going through this massive awakening and where I am today. So.
Sorry, go on. I was going to comment on that real quick. So from parts that I read, I wanted to add, it seemed like you did a good job at connecting the dots, because sometimes this can be really confusing because there's so many different things at play.
Right.
And you're like, well, what about this? What about this? You got like secret space programs, you got the government, you've got like all of these, you got ETs, spirituality. It seemed like you did a good job at kind of connecting the dots and bringing in like a wide variety, well-rounded, wide variety of information, which I find helpful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's great to hear, because that was another goal of mine, was to connect the dots with all of those things and kind of show the big picture of how it all fits together in the greater reality, right? That was a goal. So thank you. I'm glad you think that, because that's what I was trying to do. And I was trying to show how, because there's all the conspiracy information that we know about, right? Where we're being lied to and manipulated by this dark group, and like years, and they've been suppressing humanity and all this kind of stuff. But then it's easy to get caught up in the fear of that if you don't understand the greater spiritual reality that's also that you also are, right? So it's like, I tried to really paint the picture of like, hey, you are way more powerful than anyone probably has ever led you to believe, and that's what you need to find and realize. And then you can see all this evil that's going on and all this manipulation, but you're not going to fall prey to it, because now once you reach a certain level of consciousness and awakening, now you're not susceptible anymore to the mind control, essentially, and the manipulation. And I tried to really paint that picture. And then I also showed how the ETs and the UFO information fits into all this as well, and like, or higher dimensional beings and that kind of thing. And then, so I kind of start the book with a big picture view, and then I go into my story, and then I go into information in different areas, and then I end it with a big picture view again, kind of tying it all together. And but there's so much I couldn't put in this book. Like, you can't put everything in one book. And it was really hard to choose what I wanted to put in, what I wanted to expand on more, what I wanted to just briefly touch on. So I kind of had to make the hard decision of like that. And I'm planning on writing a sequel to this book. So Waking to the Infinite Universe Book 2, or Volume 2, sometime next year, release sometime next year. So I'm going to kind of pick up this book. And
it could be Waking to the Infinite Universe Again.
Right. Right.
I have a question. You brought something up, and you said something about like, once you are awake, it's like difficult to be kind of bamboozled again by the manipulation and the control. I've talked to several clients in the last week, and the same thing keeps coming up. And it's something that Craig and I have discussed, is like, how is it that some people can see so clearly, and it's just like in your face, like all the dots are right there, and then other people just cannot see it at all? Like, what do you think that is?
That's a great question, and that's something I think we've all wondered at some point, right? Because it's like, especially at this point in time, where it in the last 4 years, especially, it's been like so in your face. It's been so in your face and so blatant, the evil and the lies and the corruption and all of it, and the manipulation. It's been so, to us at least, to, again, it's only certain people, and certain people, they don't see it at all. They just think that they're perceiving what is reality, and like they're completely engulfed in the matrix, so to speak. And I think it's actually because on a soul level, which is more the real you, not the ego personality you, which is just like a temporary you that you're kind of experiencing. It's not really the real you. But a lot of people are kind of like, on a soul level, I think they're younger souls, so to speak. So they haven't had, like, I think all of us here, you could call it starseeds. I think we are that, but I think we're old souls as well, that we've had many, many, many incarnations, many different experiences, to where on a soul level, we've had a lot of growth, where we can incarnate somewhere. And even if we incarnate and forget temporarily all of who we are and all this stuff, this kind of stuff doesn't quite take root and doesn't quite hold as strongly, even if it does temporarily, as a younger soul who maybe they've only ever had Earth incarnations and haven't even had other types of experiences, right? Where I think it's just, you know, they're at a different place in their path. It's not like a good or bad thing necessarily. It's just like they're still learning a lot of these lessons and growth, having these growth experiences, kind of like a different phase of their journey, so to speak. And because of that, you know, it's like I think they're a lot more tied maybe deeply to the ego personality, which ties into the matrix. Because as I've said a lot, the matrix, the false matrix that we're born into, it ties into ego personalities, and that's how it programs you. If you completely are stuck in your ego and your mind, and you're not in your heart and things like that, you can be very easily programmed. But it also, those roots are a lot stronger because it all comes back to fear, right? It's all fear based. So like you're so terrified of like looking outside of that box or expanding outside of your ego, or thinking it could be wrong, or there's something else going on, or you identify so strongly with the programs and with your ego personality and all its beliefs and programs that you can be just easily manipulated, because all they got to do is play to that. And it could be like so obvious that you're being lied to or you're being manipulated to people that can see it. But to people like that, it's like it's not about, they don't have a truth core thing going on like we do, where they just want what they already believe to be validated and reinforced, right? And this kind of plays into this false sense of safety and false sense of comfort, where it's like, yes, you're right, yes, you're in the right group, you have the right beliefs, don't worry, yes, you're okay. Like they just want that. So all people have to do is placate to that, and they're going to keep buying in and keep on that hamster wheel, right? And it's going to take, I think it takes people like that a lot more maybe trauma and intense experiences to break them out of that, because they so strongly want to hold on to the program. Whereas like I didn't have to go through that much trauma to wake up. It just was like a little thing, and I was like, wait a second, I'm just believing these things that have been handed to me. Wait a second, there's more going on in reality. Like it didn't take, but some people, they have to have like, you know, whether it's
a life-changing event of sorts,
near-death experience a lot of times.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, like what comes to mind is Danian Brinkley, if you guys know who he
is.
No, Danian, amazing guy. But he said before his near-death experience, he was one of the worst. You would never want to be friends with him, because he himself says he was a horrible person, and he's like, nothing would have broke me out of that unless it was that intense of a thing. He says, you know, and he had this crazy, amazing spiritual near-death experience where he met these higher dimensional beings and what he calls God, source, and he came back and he was a completely changed person, like 100% changed, and now ever since it's been on a spiritual path. And I think things like that are like kind of like destined to happen to certain people, where they're like, all right, in this lifetime, I'm going to have this kind of spiritual near-death experience where I from that point on, I'm on my like spiritual mission. And that's going to like, there's something about that's what they want to go through that in this lifetime. But for some people, that's just in this lifetime, it's on a soul level. They just are here to kind of be in the matrix and to be completely in the programs of the matrix. And that's it. And they're still having growth on a soul level to some degree, but that's just it. And, you know, everyone's at where they're at, and there's no, you know, we're all in our own individual paths. So it's like everyone is sovereign, whether they realize it or not. Now the whole trick is to get you to give up your sovereignty to the system, right? And so it can feed off of you, and then you just become a cog in the machine that's being fed off of.
Fodder.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
that's why the second you awaken, you know, you can see that, and you're like, I'm not going to be controlled and manipulated and told, you know, be a cog in the machine. I'm my own sovereign being. But it takes a certain level of soul growth, I think, to even ever get to that point in a lifetime. So yeah, I just think, you know, there's going to be a certain percentage of people on the planet, at least right now, the people that are incarnated, that they're just never in this lifetime, no matter what happens. like they could even, like, on the news and, you know, all the things that they even like normally believe, whether it's the media, whether it's a religious institution, whether it's the government, whatever, education, they could even be told through those channels a lot of truth. But if it goes against what they already believe, they're not even gonna buy into it. They're gonna be like, no, that's like, there's a certain percentage that are at that level, and then there's a percentage that they will wake up once they start hearing it from those channels that they trust, right? Or the certain things that they're, and that's what I think we're kind of in the phase right now of, like, everything's being exposed. There's chaos. Everything's coming to the surface to be seen and exposed and transmuted and all that. But there's also a breakdown of the old systems and the old institutions, and the truth is starting to seep through those, and they're starting to be exposed for what they are. And that is waking up a lot of people, because they need those systems to see what's going on, and to see that, wait a second, I'm living in this false Truman Show reality that's manipulating me. Whereas, like, I woke up and 2012 was my big awakening, and at that point there was a little bit of that going on, but it wasn't nearly to what it's been in the last, like, 5 years.
No.
And so when it started happening, like COVID, for example, in 2020, I was like, from day one, I knew exactly what was going on, because I'd already been through my awakening. I knew how the system worked. I knew all, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what they're trying to do. This is what's going on. But, like, a lot of people needed that to happen to get to the point where they're like, wait a second, and their whole false reality exploded.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a second, the world I thought was the world, the reality I thought was reality, is just a false thing, and there's, like, this greater thing going on.
I'd love to know. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
On that thought, I was just thinking then, like, everyone we speak to seems to have some sort of catalyst in their life that was like an awakening experience. I'd love to know, Lilly, is that something that happened for you, or was it a gradual thing, or like how did it start for you, and that led into the contact to basically where you are doing what you're doing today?
Yeah. So I've always been kind of, like, interested in space and kind of maybe philosophical questions, like what really is out there, what is, you know, life, what is death. So I've always been kind of interested in that, but I didn't, like, read too much into it. The first catalyst was big catalyst was the passing of my father, and I had I went through a really bad rock bottom. I struggled with addiction issues, depression issues, and in that. In surrendering to that, in developing a personal connection to source, which I didn't know was really, like, possible. I had my first spiritual experience during that, where I literally felt like God. I was in so much pain at the time. I felt God, like, I saw this rainbow, and I felt God, like, this higher power, come around me and literally just, like, lift this heavy burden that I was carrying with me. Felt it lift, and it was just gone. And I felt I could change my life after that. Like, I literally, like, I changed everything after that. So it was just, like, in an instant. So that was my first one. And I read a book, Conversations with God, after my dad passed, that really helped me eliminate a lot of the religious programming and a lot of kind of just programming. It's a really, really great book.
Amazing.
Yeah. Because before, I was super uncomfortable with God and all of that. Like, I couldn't stand it. I didn't, you know, so I avoided it. But that book really helped me to kind of open my heart open to it. And then the second one was during COVID, whenever I started shooting space photography, and that was my UFO awakening. And then my big spiritual awakening, that's whenever the UFOs started showing up. Again, I was going through kind of like the dark night of the soul whenever it happened. So both times I was going through a dark night of the soul whenever these huge and you have to kind of like let go of the old to, you know, open up to the new. So that those were the kind of like the two big catalysts. And then now it's taken over my life, and this is all I study. All
That's
I
what you do now. Yeah. So, well, something I really wanted to get into, we can talk more about that, but I really want to get into this. Is talking about the infinite universe, waking to the infinite universe, and making contact. I think it's great to have you both on together to talk about this, because at the conference, so excuse me, I'm getting a bit of a frog in my throat. I've always loved everything weird and wonderful. The idea, I'm not satisfied with mere information. I like information. It's good that information will lead you to something. But if we stop at just information, it's just head knowledge. We know about something.
Right.
It has to become real. Something has to happen. Since since being a kid, I always had this absolutely ridiculous, irrational fear of anything ape-like. Right. So,
wait, what?
Anything ape-like, so monkeys, that sort of thing, right? Hear me out, okay? And I say this because I was terrified of the thought of Bigfoot and Sasquatch, right? I remember watching, as a kid, the family-friendly film Harry and the Hendersons. It scared the crap out of me. Right? I had no idea why. I mean, it was this big friendly thing. But do you remember, I don't know if you remember the film, the one scene where they crash into him in the car, they put him on the roof, and he wakes up and he goes bang on the windscreen. Absolutely scared the living daylights out of me when I was younger, right? And I'm saying that because it's like it almost became like a morbid fascination. This idea of like that there is a Sasquatch, there is Bigfoot out there, kind of thing. Even though it was terrifying me. And another film as well was I don't know if you've ever heard of it. And I checked it out before we did this show. It was released in 1984. Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, with Christopher Lambert. Right, he played Tarzan, and he was raised. You know the story of Tarzan. He was raised by a family of gorillas, and there was one mean gorilla in that like hated the fact that there was a human there, and he was really mean and a minging face and everything. And I used to wake up in the night sweating about this gorilla. I knew it was going to walk in my bedroom door at any moment, you know. And it sounds ridiculous, but the reason why I'm saying this is when we were at the conference, something which to me personally was an activation for me was making contact with the Sasquatch that were there. And obviously I wanted to bring that up because it ties in with the topic of today. Like when we made contact, okay. So my side of the story is Abby Ling was like my tour guide doing this. She came to me one night. She was like, "Hey, do you want to come and make contact with the Sasquatch?" I was like, "Sorry, what?" You know, I didn't even know they were there. Wait, I was like, I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." You know, and then there was like a group of us went up, if you remember, so we were there. People were engaging. We were quiet. And this was following the first night, by the way, which is where we first met Lilly. Do you remember up on the viewing point, and all the crafts that were flying by when we were stood there that first night I've never seen anything like it. It was practically like shooting stars. They were coming, they were stopping, they were powering up and flying off, and loads happening. It was incredible. But this particular time, we were hearing stuff in the woods, and people were connecting in their hearts. You know, people who know how to squatch. I didn't even know that was a thing at the time. And then a group sort of said, "Yeah, we've had enough now." And we noticed that a few of you hadn't disappeared off into the woods somewhere, including you, Lilly. So I was like, "Well, you know, you're all female. I can't leave you on your own. You know, a big, strong male. Do you know what I mean? As if I'm going to do anything." So I walk into the woods, and there's a group of you, Abby, Noel, and you were deep in this kind of contact experience with the Sasquatch. And I walked into it. And it was one of the weirdest experiences because the atmosphere, it was like we stepped into something and it was almost like you could run your fingers through it. It was like the air was pixelated and like watery almost. And you were there like like didn't even know I was there. You were so in the zone, Lily. And I wanted to say as well, so that was like my first experience. Like Noelle was telling me what was going on, because I was like, I don't have a clue what's going on, what's happening. You know, like I was like a complete noob. You know,
It's amazing, isn't it? It's so strange and wonderful, and that's what. Yeah, that's what gets me so excited. I just want to see what is possible, like what is this? What, what's going to happen? And it's amazing. The universe blows my mind every day, and I love the Sasquatch.
That's it. And I remember, because I had an experience when I was in, and I only say this because a few people had the same thing. When I was in the room on my own, I was just unpacking or something in the cabin. It was still, there was no wind or anything like that. And the door of the cabin flung open, but it didn't like fling and hit the doorstop. It flung and stopped, like something was controlling it. And I was there like walked out, what's going on? And then I found out when I think I told a few of you, like Tyler and people, like the door's just opened, and a few of you like, oh yeah, it happened to me the other day. Yeah, it's just them. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Just leave them to it, sort of thing. But there was one particular night, and I wanted to get onto this because what I found was, despite this childhood fear, which came from nowhere really, it was extremely sacred. This experience where we made contact with them, and there was another night. So there was me, Abby, Melody, and Noelle went up, just the four of us, and we started doing the thing, getting in your heart, and started connecting with them. And we heard this really loud, really loud, very close by owl hoot. At least I thought it was an owl, but it was way too big and loud and deep for an owl. And I was like, "Whoa, that owl must be massive." And Abby was like, "No, it's them. It's them." She said that they will mimic a creature that you're familiar with to remove the fear.
They do that a lot, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Oh wow, that's amazing." And then we started to get carried on engaging, and Abby does this thing where she sings, which is just extremely powerful. And we heard them starting to coo back to us. They started to vocalize back to us. They were making like ooh sounds back from the woods, and I was just there like, what's going on? But then we did some tree knocking. So obviously, I did a rhythm on the tree, and they knocked back in the same rhythm. I was like, oh my word, I'm making contact here. You know what I mean? This is incredible. And that experience was very playful. It was like they were having fun with us. And Abby said that she saw that there was two young ones who were actually playing with us there. And I came away from this like completely activated, like something so huge shifted. I don't know what they were doing, whether it was just the contact or not, just making contact with these extremely high level beings, and I can't believe I'm talking about this publicly. I've not told many people about this, but I thought I would bring it up on this show because we're talking about making contact, and we're talking about it's infinite, what is out there. We know so little of what is out there, and we have to make this real. We have to say, like, I've had an experience. I remember somebody said once, a person with experience will always defeat a person with an argument. We can argue to the hilt based on our own beliefs and understandings, but if you've got an experience, you know that you know, and you carry that frequency there.
Right.
And I'm just wondering, like, are you having ongoing contacts? Are you both having ongoing awakening experiences? Is it still expanding? Is it just as life goes on? What's happening with you both now, sort of after these sort of amazing encounters that you've had?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, so my goal is to meet all of the Sasquatch clans in the United States. So that's one of my goals. So anywhere I go, I've met the Sasquatch clans, and Mena, Arkansas was the first one. The ones near the conference in Grafton, Illinois, the North Carolina Sasquatch, even though I haven't been there yet, they've contacted me psychically. And I just did kind of like a little bit of a tour on the West Coast, like Mount Shasta and Washington, and I had contact experiences there. And what's interesting, I want to add about the Sasquatch clans real quick, is that they are each different. They each have their own energy, their own frequency, their own personalities. They're like, unique clans, just like people. And I had a really beautiful experience in the Grand Tetons, which is near Yellowstone, on my trip that I just got back from on the 12th. And I met a female like shaman Sasquatch. Yeah, who did some energy work on me, and it was just a really, really beautiful experience. And once you make contact with these different beings, and they're all around us just in other dimensions, so we can't always perceive them, but as you become more activated, you can kind of perceive them or feel them. I see them a lot, or you can feel them like whenever you walked into that area and you felt just the energy change. Once you make contact with these beings, you can continue to have a relationship with them sometimes and connect with them, which is really cool, through like meditation or whatever. Like I remember Tyler saying from Journey to Truth podcast, saying that he like took some rocks from Mena, Arkansas. That's how I knew like to go there. He told me some good spots where there's Sasquatch and stuff like that. And he brought some crystals, which is Arkansas is known for having tons of crystals, being on a bed of like thousands of miles of crystals. And he brought some home with him. And then like, I don't know if it was like 6 months or a year later, he like finally like grabbed him out. And then suddenly he heard a Sasquatch call behind him in his kitchen or something like that. So it like kind of re-invoked that connection with them, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, I love contact experiences. That's kind of my thing. So I'm always having contact experiences with like guides or ETs or Sasquatch or whatever, and through meditation a lot. And it's an ever developing and progressive thing. Each time you're activated a little bit more, you learn a little bit more, or yeah. So that's kind of, yeah, that's my journey. That's kind of my main thing. I really like contact experiences. So yes, I'll say yes to that.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? Sort of, have you had any sort of encounters or experiences that you don't talk about much, or that you want to disclose?
Not in that way. I don't know. I don't, to this point, at least, I haven't had many of those types of encounters. But maybe I need to, maybe I need to meditate more and try to connect more. Maybe I will.
They're there though, they're there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I feel like I have a lot that happens in dream time. Even though it's weird, because like a lot of the dreams I'll remember having a dream where there's like other beings and craft even sometimes, but then I'll like forget the detail. Like I'll wake up and I'll remember those details, but I'll forget exactly what happened. Or I'll forget the dream entirely, but I know I had some kind of crazy dream last night. I think there's maybe some stuff going on with that, because I mean that's a common way a lot that they will connect with you, because it's a lot easier for them to do, and you're not in your like ego personality as much when you're in your dream space, and they can just like connect easier that way. So I think there's stuff going on there I just don't really remember. and waking up.
I think because so I used to dream a lot. I used to have loads of wild dreams. I mean, I know, Sharnael, you've been a dreamer and got messages in dreams and all kinds of things. Certainly in the prophetic movement and things like that, they're all about dreams and decoding the messages that came through and things. Because obviously in the dream state, a lot of it is metaphorical or symbolic, and you have to kind of interpret it, or some of it is quite literal. Like you say, if you see has a dream where they're stepping on a craft, I don't think that's necessarily symbolic, but I think for me personally, I used to dream like mad. Like every night I'd wake up with the feeling, and I'd engage the feeling, and it would take me back into it. For some reason, I've not had that for quite a while now. But, is that something that do you think we can activate, or is it something that comes in waves or whatever? What do you think we can do about that?
Do you want go ahead, Dr. Sharnael?
Sorry, I'm muted because my animals. I taught on dreams and visions for like over a decade. I worked with John Paul Jackson.
Right.
And he had a lot of things to say about that, and I've implemented that. But one of the big things is whatever you put your attention towards, you get more of. And so if you have that whole expectation that you're going to dream, and even put like a journal next to your bed when you go to sleep or whatever, that's one step towards that. The other thing is when you do get that dream, a lot of times people will get it in the middle of the night and they're like, oh, I'm too tired to like write this down, or, you know, whatever, I'll remember it in the morning, but it's gone in the morning. Like you go back to sleep and it's like, oh, I know I dreamed something and it was so important, but it's gone. And if you take the time to actually either just grab a quick video or record yourself or write it down or do something, a lot of times the act of just physically writing it or saying it, like even more comes back to you, and then you get more. So he would always say, like, the more you pay attention to it, and you know, you get more as you put your attention and love towards that.
Right.
You know, it's like, okay.
But so like setting intention when you're settling down, sort of thing, like I'm going to dream tonight and I'm going to remember it, kind of thing.
And even more specifically, like if you want an answer for something, like I've done a lot of theta work, and let's say I really needed to have some final answer in whatever I was trying to figure out, like a business decision or a relationship decision or whatever. I've actually put my intention in water or a drink or something and just like spoke it. And then I'll write it on a piece of paper and I put my water on top of that next to my bed, and or like a crystal or something that I'll wear, and just be like, okay, I'm going to have the answer when I get up. And I'm so excited that I have this answer coming to me, and have the feeling of already knowing the answer and celebrating I already have the answer, and then getting that answer by morning.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I know Lilly has all the sacred geometry. I'm big into that. And like right now I'm drinking out of my cup, but I have it on a Superman symbol.
Nice.
And, you know, and I'll put my drink on the Superman symbol, and or the Wonder Woman symbol, or Merkaba or something, because I want that infused into what I'm drinking. Is like my superpowers, my hero.
Yeah, there you go. Flower Life.
Tyler made this for me, which is amazing. He's so crafty. It's just like, it's like a bookmark. So like you put your book on there for like a book, and then it's got a little cup holder which you put the flower of life into. So
where did you get that? I need one.
I know. Ask Tyler. He'll make
Go to the conference next year and ask him, Sharnael.
Harass Tyler until he makes one.
That's awesome.
So I always have when I'm doing shows, I always have I usually have a mug of tea or coffee or something, and I have it sitting on this flower of life. You know.
That's awesome.
Actually, that's a good point, because I remember I went to a conference a few years ago in my hometown that Gaia TV sponsored. Billy Carson was there, Eric Van Daniken, many big names in the kind of world. And it was fantastic to meet them. But they were giving away stickers of sacred geometry to put on your cups. And I didn't understand it at the time. It makes sense now, because obviously just that pattern on your mug will activate the whatever you're drinking, I guess. It's the principle behind it. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's flower life, Merkabas, things like that. So maybe getting placemats. We really are weird, aren't we?
It's fun. It's fun.
Any other way?
It is fun. It is fun. Yeah. So I mean, again, I've not really spoken to anybody or not many people since the conference, but just to finish on that one. If you remember, a few people saw the Sasquatch. I think Sherry Divban saw one running between cabins or something like that. I mean, that would have spooked me out, but whatever. But I can remember on the last, I think it was the last night, me, Abby, or a few others were stood around waiting, like around the fire. And we're sort of talking, what do you want to do? Do you want to go up and do the Sasquatch thing again? Or do you want to stay down here? We don't know. What should we do? And as we were talking, the same owl hoot we heard in the trees above us down at the bottom. And we all looked at each other and went, right, let's go up. You know, we went up and met with them again, sort of thing. But it was good. It was a good night. We came back down as well, because the last night was really special, because it was like we knew it was the last night, the last fire and everything. And it was just a really special time. But I guess I'm bigging up the conference still. I'm still reeling from it. It was literally a life-changing experience. And the reason why I say it as well is because we talk about catalysts and times in our life that really elevate us and shift things energetically. That was certainly one for me. And you know, you guys, certainly Journey to Truth guys and everyone that we meet there, just thank you for putting it all on. And again, just hanging out with people, you know, the real people, like, as I said before, like me, you, Tyler, and Katie, Lilly, going and getting Ted Drews one night, you know, that was as spiritual as the Sasquatch experience, because we're just all talking about the same thing, you know, and even though we're just getting ice cream, it was, or what is it, frozen yogurt or is it ice cream? I call it ice cream. What is it?
I think it's custard.
Frozen
Custard. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Whatever. I think we call it Mr. Whippy.
I can't even eat it. Remember, like I'm like, I'll try, but I can't. Like it hurts my stomach.
Yeah.
So I went with you guys to go get ice cream, but you guys ate it. But yeah, the camaraderie is so important. Like just being around each other. It's coming back from my 33-day trip, and I spent time with different groups of people in different places too. Like I was actually sad coming back, but the camaraderie, like one day we will have communities, and you know, this will be more. I just can't wait for that. I'm super excited about that. But for now, we have conferences and events like that, and you know, trips that we take to connect with each other. But nothing beats that, just meeting each other and connecting in person.
Yeah, I've always said these conferences are like a preview of the new Earth, of how all of the planet's going to be at some point, you know. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are already, you know, they have a lot of acres and they're already building these things that, you know, I mean, obviously there's like communes and things like that, but you know, I think I like to call it intentional communities, right? Whereas like the way the planet is now, it's mostly non-intentional communities where it's just like we all just we're just kind of lived isolated in houses and working jobs, and there's not, and you can kind of, you know, you can kind of join communities, whether it's like a church or whether it's whatever meetup groups you go to. Like Tyler and his dad in St. Louis still do their own monthly meetup, and they're forming this beautiful community with it. It's amazing, but it's only one day a month for like a couple hours, right? It's not like they're not all living together. But like I think the way the planet's going, New Earth, we're all going to start living more like, I guess you could say tribally, essentially, where like you're all in this intentional community and you're all growing your own food, supporting each other like a beautiful family that supports each other, and the you know, even the money system's going to change and all that kind of stuff. But basically, what we experience at a conference is going to be like how every day, you know, and that's how it should be. That's like, it's like every time I go to a conference or one of these things, I'm like, this is life. This is how it's supposed to be. Like, this is like the divine blueprint, you know, of how we were meant to live. And then we all got to, you know, go back to some degree of the matrix, you know, afterwards, and then bring that light and bring that activation to that, you know, and there's a reason for that, you know, like we're all kind of like being activated at these events, and then we're bringing that out back to where we're at, and then we're helping to activate locally to where we're at, and there's this beautiful grid, you know, all over the planet. But at some point, you know, this new Earth is going to be a lot more like the whole planet's going to be like that,
right?
You know, and so it's kind of like a preview of that.
Well, I love that, and it looks like a lot of other people are saying, "I love it, wonderful, conference is wonderful." I hope I can get to the next one. I didn't get to make it this time because I have my daughter's finals. But since you're talking about this stuff, I wanted to mention. I know we got to go, but I have a retreat coming up, and I've been doing these retreats in this specific location for over a decade. and it's a women's retreat specifically. I know you can't make it, Lily. I wish you could. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And we do just the exact same thing. It's like a real time of connecting and bonding. And especially with all of the moving parts over the last 4 years of people kind of physically losing people, changing friends, family members, all the tiffs and rifts that have, kind of broken up people or, just made new changes and new realms. The goal in this retreat, similar to what you guys have, is just like us coming together to meet and to heal and to love one another and to make new connections that continue even after the conference is over or the retreat is over, because it's like now you have those resources like Craig's talking about, still, reeling from it. And we're also opening it up to having a lot of different modalities physically to help people kind of get to that next level or to move out of the old, like Lily was talking about. And some of those, energetically can take place through, biofeedback or ozone or PEMF or, sound bath or hyperbaric chamber or different things that are, physical. But, as we heal physically and emotionally and spiritually, that's how we can actually get to that next places and being in an open space of receiving, and I think a lot of times we give. So going to a conference, I know Craig came from all the way over there, and that was an investment, right? And when you put your energy, literally, of your money, your time into something like this, there's always going to be a return. It's, especially when you follow your heart of like, oh, I got to be there, this is my thing. And so I do hope to come next year, and I do hope that some of you, maybe we'll have a retreat that's guy girl sometime on the same spot.
Sharnael, I was actually just going to say, the beauty of living in this modern age is that I can just identify as a woman and turn up. So I'm just put a wig on and I'll be there.
Yeah, there you go.
But yes,
just temporarily identify as a woman for the retreat. And when you go back to identifying,
they want to come back.
You're like, no, I changed back to identifying.
Tell us any final words and how people can find you guys as we wrap up today. And then I would love to continue this conversation another time and maybe have Tyler back with us too, or maybe even Laura.
That would be awesome. Yeah. For me, so you can find me. I have a YouTube channel. I do live activations and lives every other Sunday on there and post other content at Lily Nova Starseed. And then my website is lilynovacontact.com. And then my book is called Contact, and it's available on Amazon also. So
hold it up.
Still people. Yeah. I've got my signed copies, by the way, of Lily and Aaron's book from the conference. I will confess, I'm an extremely slow reader. I'm currently reading Lisa DiMartino's book. I'm coming to the end of that now.
Lisa's book's
hi,
amazing.
Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. Everyone go
so
buy
I
Lisa.
will get there. I've got Laura's book as well, and all signed, so I approve.
Everyone go buy Lisa's book as well, because it's also amazing. And
beautiful.
She was at the conference selling her books.
She was.
Yeah, everyone buy Lisa's book. Everyone buy Lily's book.
And yours, of course.
And Craig, you're still writing the book, right?
Yeah, so basically I'm doing exactly what Aaron did. Like I wrote a good chunk of it, and then it's like, yeah, I'm really making headway in this, and then not done any for ages.
Yeah.
So I will get back on it. Life has been a bit mental recently. It's been an extremely busy summer, with I've been touring with this band, and there's more dates going to be announced for next year and things. Managed to keep the conference dates free, so I will try and get there if I can. But yeah, so I will be on that book. I promise at some point.
When is the next conference, Aaron? And then any final words, how people can find you, etc.
The next conference will be same place, Pierre Marquette Lodge in Grafton, Illinois. Again, same time of year in May. The dates we don't know exactly yet, but it'll be in May, roughly around the same time. same place. But we haven't even started, other than that, the planning yet. So we don't know who's going to be speaking yet or any other details. It'll be 4 days again, though. I think it'll be the same format with that.
Yeah, it works.
This might be the last year we do it there, and I think after that we're going to try to find maybe a new. I don't know. Maybe it may or may not be the last year.
Go with the flow.
We might try to find a complete new location somewhere else. So we'll see. But yeah, I think we should start planning, we're going to start planning soon, and then we're going to maybe in about 2 months-ish from now is probably when we'll announce it and have the website up. It's generally around that time of year is when that happens. So be on the lookout around maybe like mid to late October, I would say, for it to be announced.
And where can we find you? Where can people get your book?
And lift your book.
My book, Waking to the Infinite Universe, you can get it on Amazon if you just search Waking to the Infinite Universe, or if you just search my name, Aaron Kuhn, on Amazon, it should pop up as well. Or if you go to, I think, our website, you can find it, journeytotruth.online. Or if you go to our Rumble channel or YouTube channel, and the link is in the description of all the episodes, you can also find it there. And yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. And Craig, I know you're all over the place.
Craig. So yeah, something I need to stress is a lot of people are starting to call me Craig over here. It's Craig. Craig. Yeah.
What?
Craig?
Craig. Yeah.
Is that the British pronunciation for Craig?
That's the proper pronunciation.
Oh, that's
I think Americans took the English language and just messed it up. That's what you did.
We just messed it up. Yeah, we just completely.
Let's do it all wrong and say it's American. But no. But no. Yeah. So
sorry about bastardizing your language.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Needed it. So yeah, I'm on all the socials as usual. It's been an extremely busy summer for me. I've been touring with this band 10, playing numerous shows around the UK. More dates going to be announced for 2025, which is fantastic. Loving that. Life is busy, life is chaos, but it's a good busy. Everything's going okay, and I love doing these shows. It's been a while since we've done one, Sharnael, isn't it? We've just had a really busy summer. But we hope to do more soon. And I thank you guys for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. And it's great to chat with you again. It's been a while.
Thank you for having us on. It's been a pleasure. So good seeing you guys.
Yes, and you guys can get back with me, and we'll figure out another time to get on and maybe add a couple other people. Y'all can find me at drsharnael.com. We have YouTube. We have our meeting on Sunday, like I said, and I just want to give a shout out to the members: Kristen, Lisa, Peter. There's quite a few of you guys on here. Terry, thank you for your support and helping us to be able to do this. Every little bit counts. Debbie, Elliott, all you guys are on here. I hope to see you guys Sunday, and if you're not a member, you can be a member. And yeah, I have our wellness center here if you guys are interested in making appointments or coming down. But yeah, books, resources, and all the things on my website, drsharnael.com. So love you guys so much. And I appreciate you taking time, and so glad it finally came together where we could be together for a minute and a moment in time. And for all you guys watching, thank you for joining us and being with us in this time. Please do share, like, do all the things that help the algorithm, because we've had a little bit of against us, little resistance with all this censorship and things. So all you guys support helps a lot. So thank you so much. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you again.
Thanks. Bye.
Guys, it was a blast.